Thank you for your generous support of our church and our Share the Plate recipient. May we give in love and may we give in hope.
The next part of our service is stewardship moment. Is anybody going to be getting up for this? Okay, thank you.
I didn't get my name in here like they did last year. A little bit of mystery. My name is Thomas, and I used to go on TV once a week and talk to thousands of people. This makes me more nervous because I'm in front of a group of people who I care about very deeply. So now that we've passed the plate, I'm here to talk about money. But we'll get to that in a minute. I want to talk a little bit about my relationship to this church. I came here in 1996, but I'm a lifelong UU, so I really didn't have any other choice. This was the only UU church in town and still is. So when I moved here, this was it. I wanted to join my very first Sunday, but I was encouraged by the minister to wait a little while and join later, so I joined on my second Sunday. I found an amazing community here. People who accepted me, showed me love, gave me grace in my missteps, showed me great generosity. In fact, one member here, I'm going to put in a little plug, one member here sent me to the Soul Summit in Atlanta, which is a UU Church Leadership Conference. It's coming up next 2 weeks from now. If any of you are interested in going, I'll give you more information after the service. But it's been a community that has supported me and asked a lot of me as well. And if you would indulge me for just a minute, take a look around at all these faces in the room. This is a family. This is your chosen family. There are families you're born into, families you choose, and I've been very happy to choose this one. And these are people who will be here for you as long as you let them. So I've kind of lost my train of thought now. I was going somewhere with this, and I don't know how to get to the next level. So I could just sit down, yes, but then we'd miss the point. People here give a lot, their time, their efforts, but it's also important to keep the power on and keep the building in good repair and pay the staff. So if you haven't filled out your pledge card, there's a great little QR code here you can use. You can also go online to do it, and I highly encourage you to make your pledge to the church. The board has a hard time sometimes having enough money to cover everything we need to. I've been part of that process, so please pledge. Thank you.
Now is the time in our community when we share what we carry with us on this day, joy or sorrow. For those of you online, please share yours in our online chat. And remember to hold others by placing parentheses around their names. For those of you in person today, you're invited to come forward and drop a stone in honor or in memory of what is on your heart today. Please come forward. Today we celebrate that Katrina Mertz is home from the hospital. And today we lift up Nancy Grove and Patty Steelman's sister Sherry, who are recovering from health situations. And of course, we all have in our minds and hearts today those who were affected by the storms yesterday. May we keep one another in our hearts and our minds in the spirit of community and love. Please join me in a spirit of meditation and prayer, followed by a moment of silence. Does your heart thud with dread and sweat bead on your lip? Have you struggled to pull your bones out of bed? Are you bloated with acrimony, outrage, anxiety? Are you bereft of joy, grieving for all that has been lost? Oh, pilgrims, don't give up. Don't give in. Seek the ladybug on your own sunny doorstep. Feel the vibration of the cat's purr against your cheek. Hear the cheerful bark of the pup eager to play, the giggle of the child engaged in delight. Color, light, music, poetry, raucous laughter, quiet embraces, gentle silence. Remember that our spirits are made of such as these. Pilgrims, we are gathered here because we believe in each other and in the power of love to heal what is broken within us and in our world. Let us stubbornly, stalwartly resist despair and help each other to engage indomitably in fierce compassion. We are the hands and the tools, the strength and the skill to repair one another, and then to go out together and repair the world. In the silence, hear each other breathe, and remember the connection of breath among all living things. Amen, and blessed be.
Am I not on? Oh, now I'm on. I'd love to invite all the children and youth forward for a story. I feel like we're missing some of our friends this morning, but I kind of wonder if some of our friends were up pretty late last night with crazy weather. What do you think? I may have been up kind of late with some crazy weather last night. Oh my goodness. 9 o'clock, you slept right through that, Lily. I, meanwhile, did not. But good morning, friends. Good morning to our friends online as well. So I have a question for you guys. Do you have a toolbox at your house? And Dad's, okay. Well, what do you use a toolbox for? What do you use it for, Owen? You use it for things that you're fixing? Okay. If your roof is broken, you get your toolbox, and then you hammer the tool. You're right. You definitely use it for what else? You have a pretend toolbox at your house? Pretend. So grown-ups, you have a pretend one too, Grissom? Grown-ups, do you have toolboxes at your houses? Excellent, excellent. So you use it to keep all the things that you need to fix other things in, right, Owen? Like hammers and screwdrivers and nails and all that kind of stuff. And wrenches, absolutely. And that clip wires, yeah, you know a lot about toolboxes, Owen. I didn't even realize. So, but why do we want to keep them all in one place? Why do we want to keep all that stuff in a toolbox? So you don't lose it. Excellent. And so that when you need it, you can find it, right? It's all right there, hopefully. Cross your fingers. Unless you live at my house and then you randomly have a screwdriver that lives in your bathroom because you've got, anyway, just have them in places. I know, very silly, right? But sometimes when something is broken and I need to fix it and I'm not exactly sure what tool I need, I just go get my toolbox because it has so many different tools in it, right? So even if I don't know how to fix it, I can find something in that toolbox that'll help me fix it. Or you could go watch a tutorial on YouTube. Also true, but true story. So, but sometimes when we're going through a hard time personally, like say we're really sad, or we're really scared, or we're really angry, or we're overwhelmed, or we're grieving something, we can think about what tools we would need to put in our emotional toolbox. A little different than a real life toolbox. Yeah, right? It's like an emotional toolbox where you keep all these things in it to help you feel better. You don't think you have one of those? The good news is it's something you can work on. And you don't know what I'm talking about? You know, Owen, I have some good news for you. Sometimes grown-ups don't know about their emotional toolbox either. So it's something you learn about. It's something you figure out. So can you guys think of anything that you do that helps you feel better when maybe you're sad or you're stressed or something? What do you do? Oh, I'm afraid to ask, Lily. Listen to music, thank you. And also play video games. And your guitar. Play your guitar. You play your guitar, you listen to music. You want to play guitar? What do you do when you're sad, Grissom? Do you maybe talk to mom? You talk to mom, yeah? Owen, what about you? You hug your dad bear? That's a really good tool. That's a good one. Yeah? I love that. Can you show me a picture of it sometime? Awesome. Aria, what do you do when you're scared? Snuggle with your toys? Do you like to get hugs when you're sad or you're scared, Porter? You take what? Betty brush. Belly rubs. Belly breaths. Oh my goodness. You're going to have to show me how to do that. And apparently how to clean out my ear better. That's a really good idea. Who taught you to take belly breaths? Your teacher at school. What a smart teacher. Yes, Owen? Hide under your blanket. So these are all different things that you can use when you're feeling a really big feeling, right? You can hide in your room. Sometimes you need to be quiet and alone. Sometimes you need to talk to a friend. Sometimes you need a hug from someone. But these are all tools that you can keep in your emotional toolbox for those times, right? Mm-hmm. Oh no. Cats are really bad about giving away hiding spots. So are dogs. But very nice. No. You know, we should talk about this when we go downstairs. We can talk about all the best hiding spaces. You can help me brainstorm some when we get downstairs, okay? Excellent. We'll come up with some good ones. So So we have lots of different ways that we can deal with things when we're stressed or tired or angry or sad. And we have lots of options, different ways to take care of ourselves when things are really hard. And one of the reasons why it's really hard to think about these in advance and think about different ways is because just like the toolbox you use to fix the broken roof, you never know what you might need. So always think about things that help you feel better. And sometimes what we really need isn't a quiet time or a hug or playing music. Sometimes we really need to talk to someone. Sometimes we need to talk to a therapist. Sometimes we could talk to our minister. Sometimes we could talk to our grown-ups or a doctor or a teacher, and that's okay, and it's good to have that tool too. Or a priest, because you go to a school that has priests, right? Yep. 50 priests. Owen goes to a Catholic school, just in case we didn't gather that. So the more we practice using our tools, though, Owen, the better we get at it. And the more we ask for help from other people, the better we get at taking care of ourselves, right? Yeah? Right? So we might not always have the very best idea to do the tool that we need, but we can always ask for help, right, Owen? Can we always ask for help? Awesome. So who would you ask for help? You can ask me. Or he could talk to the priest. Thanks, Owen. Well, on that note, why don't we get these grown-ups to sing us downstairs so we can go have some community time? Good plan?
Before I introduce our wonderful sabbatical minister, I want to read the sabbatical covenant. And I believe, Kim, we may have it up as a sign in here. I haven't seen it yet, but I know Kim has copies of this in her office. So I'll get her to put them on the center table in the narthex next time, or next week. So the sabbatical covenant is, we will be respectful of Reverend Julie's time away and not contact her during sabbatical. Recognizing that the ministry of this congregation ultimately belongs to us, we will take responsibility for keeping things running smoothly while Reverend Julie's away. If something isn't running correctly, we'll communicate with the appropriate people about it. We will enthusiastically pitch in to help and fill where we're needed to. We will be respectful of our lay leadership. We will be extraordinarily supportive of our staff. We will do our best to attend Sunday worship, thank you, and as often as possible, and encourage others to do so too. We will not stop attending Sunday services just because Reverend Julie's not in the pulpit. We'll make visitors feel welcome and do what we can to contribute to an atmosphere of warmth and welcoming of the church. We will be welcoming of our guest speakers and speak well of them. We'll recognize that not everything will go well during the sabbatical, and we'll do our best to see that this is an opportunity of growth for our congregation. We'll try some new things, but we will make no major changes while Reverend Julie's away. We will wait after she returns to discuss any changes we would like to make. We will not change Reverend Julie's term of employment while she's away. I haven't read this fully, even though I helped write it, so, okay, I didn't know that one. I forgot about that one. will not reduce her compensation or benefits. Okay, I think we get the idea. Or hours or level of authority, blah, blah, blah. Will make no major changes in the literature. I can't say that word. Liturgy, thank you. While Reverend Julie's away. Will not terminate any staff unless it's under extraordinary circumstances. So, Elizabeth, you're good. Okay. Will not intentionally practice mutual respect. Oh, we will, not we will not. We will intentionally practice mutual respect and compassion with another, resolving any conflict according to our covenant of right relations. If serious conflicts arise, we'll follow our covenant and make use of the right relations team. So that's our covenant. Now, I am so excited to introduce our sabbatical minister. Many of us know and love Reverend Ruth Van Lillian. Reverend Ruth Van Lillian was born in Birmingham, here in Alabama, to politically active Southern white liberals. Lillian Foscue Van was a journalist with the Birmingham Post-Herald, and David J. Van was a mediating attorney during the Civil Rights Movement, and he was elected mayor later on. In 2005, Reverend Ruth began attending the Unitarian Universalist Church of Birmingham, and during her 14 years, she served in many leadership roles, including the board president and volunteered ministerial services on occasion. In 2017, Reverend Ed asked Reverend Ruth to step in as interim director of religious education for 2 years. She also served as solo minister at UUCT for 3 years. She received full fellowship ministerial credentials with the UUA in 2022. She's been married for 26 years to Bill Malone, and I think Bill's here. Yes, you are. Okay, to Bill Malone, and they have 2 beautiful young adults, Liam, who's 24, and Angus, who's 22. Liam lives with challenges of neurodiversity, and Angus has severe cerebral palsy. Her personal pursuits include reading, walking, swimming, low-carb cooking, and singing with the Alabama Symphony Orchestra. Please help me in welcoming Reverend Ruth Van Lillian.
To dream the not quite impossible dream. We are dreamers, we Unitarian Universalists. We dream of great and wonderful visions of a better world. We cannot help ourselves. We are particularly enthusiastic about improbable hopes for more love and more justice. You know, those not quite impossible dreams. Bill and I and our kids began attending this congregation 20 years ago. Our very first service was during the stewardship campaign. And the testimonial was given by the lovely and brilliant Dr. Jean Weaver. Yay! She spoke most eloquently on the powerful UU phenomenon of free faith. As a cradle Methodist and ordained minister of 11 years, I had never heard of such a thing. She described Unitarian Universalism as a faith community where you could ask any questions and engage in your own personal faith search without anyone judging you, without declaring the same creed as anyone else. Wow. I was more than intrigued. I felt like someone was offering me a drink of water in the desert of my spiritual wandering, and I hadn't realized how very thirsty I was. I walked through that door with only vague ideas and hopes for the future. That first Sunday service in this room 20 years ago planted the seed of a not quite impossible dream, which began to take root in my heart and soul. 9 months later, I was in this pulpit, preaching my first sermon as a nascent Unitarian Universalist. I joined the choir. I volunteered in religious education and gave of my financial resources. 6 months later, when I was diagnosed with colon cancer at the age of 39, the minister reached out to support me. Following my surgery, members brought food, like Mary Williams with then little Mary Elisa in tow. I am forever deeply grateful for the love and the care I have experienced in this wonderful congregation. During this month of the stewardship campaign, we are sharing our stories about how Unitarian Universalism and these particular congregations have impacted our lives. We are all here because we share that not quite impossible dream of changing the world into a more loving and just place for all human beings. We all have stories to share about impactful experiences we have had in these churches. "Excuse me," the fellow said as he stuck his head around the doorway of the church kitchen where I was preparing snacks. "Is this the right place for the Bagsley youth group?" I smiled and introduced myself as an adult facilitator for the Birmingham area gay, straight, and lesbian youth. The organization was started by then DRE Jessica York for youth who were gay, lesbian, or questioning their sexual orientation or identity. She thought this UU church was the perfect place to offer safety and structure for such kids when they might not have either available at home or in school. Behind this man stood a tall, beautiful, slender youth with long brown hair. "This is my daughter, Gwendolyn," he said. "We are new. I wanted to be sure she would be safe here." I smiled at Gwendolyn and said hello. She smiled shyly and glanced up. As they headed downstairs, I felt deeply moved. I felt certain that it had been a long and difficult journey from the birth of that child to her current identity as a trans woman. I knew that her dad had likely never imagined that he would be walking this path, and that it was also unlikely that anybody had prepared him for the possibility or offered resources and support while he and his family took those difficult early steps. Unless he was Unitarian Universalist. The not quite impossible dream of a faith community where trans persons are welcomed and respected was already happening when I arrived here. And in the ensuing years, that dream has blossomed and grown. The Bagsley group had a fruitful time here for several years, and then joined with Birmingham AIDS Outreach to create the Magic City Acceptance Center, a place to find resources, support, and community. And that then spawned the Magic City Acceptance Academy, a school for grades 6 through 12, where LGBTQIA youth are educated, supported, and nurtured in their growing to adulthood. Wow. That's a dream that must have seemed impossible not long ago. Reverend Julie's husband, Josh Flores, now teaches there. I do understand that we can get stuck on the things we get wrong, on our shortcomings, our failures, and on the external forces beyond our control. COVID hit both our congregations very hard, and we are still recovering in some ways. We may feel reluctant to try a new plan because we remember plans that didn't go very well. Or we remember something that went well due to the efforts of folk who are not here anymore. So we certainly can't do that again because no one has stepped up to lead that project forward. When members move away or die, they leave a gap of talent, volunteer effort, and financial support. We who remain face the choice of either sighing and cutting back on ministries and programs, or stepping up and doing more to fill those gaps and make our many congregational programs stronger. I know both congregations are living with such gaps right now. The need to step up and do and give more is incumbent upon all of us. Sometime during my first year in ministry, I had the realization at 25 that I really had nothing new to say to my parishioners. I was not telling most of them anything they had not heard before. As a Methodist minister then, my job was to stand in the pulpit every Sunday and find a new, fresh, interesting way to tell them things they really already knew. My role was to remind them of the truths they already believed in and to challenge them to live out those truths more faithfully. As a Unitarian Universalist minister, it seems like this is still often the case. Though they have expanded and are expressed somewhat differently, the basic truths are unchanged. Now, both the 2025 stewardship campaigns are in full swing here and at Tuscaloosa. You can go online to make your annual financial pledge to support the ministries of your congregation, or you'll find a paper form for stewardship right there in the narthex where you came in. All Unitarian Universalist congregations are self-supporting, and every member is expected to make and fulfill a financial commitment of your own choosing every year. See, here I am telling you something you already know. Why should I do that? Why do we need to have a campaign at all? When people join these congregations, they are told that pledging is a part of the membership commitment. Why do we need to go to the trouble of holding a campaign to get those pledges in every year? I attended a UUA webinar on stewardship a while back, and in a breakout room, I talked with a lovely fellow from a fellowship up north, and he told me they were preparing for their second ever stewardship campaign. His congregation at that time was about 25 years old, and they'd had their first campaign the previous year. Prior to that, they had just informally reminded people periodically to please support the budget. I asked him how the results of the first stewardship campaign compared with that informal approach. He laughed out loud and said that the campaign had yielded the most pledged and paid income by far. It was the first year they had made their budget and ended in the black in over a decade. Why do we need a stewardship campaign? Why don't folk just give generously without being asked? Well, to start with, most of us have not been taught to be joyful, generous givers. Many of us have been taught that frugality is a virtue. And even among those of us who are lifelong givers, there are some who feel held back by fear of not having enough. Learning to share, cultivating fearless generosity is a spiritual practice. And like all such, if we practice doing the practice of generosity, it gets easier, and our enthusiasm will increase. Why do I, as your sabbatical minister, need to remind you of what you already know? Well, for the same reason, I need reminding also. There is much to distract us, to pull our attention away from the things that really matter. Many of us may feel additional anxiety about our finances right now in the current national climate. Believe me, I totally understand. I always pledge to the congregations I serve. It is a part of my personal spiritual practice. I don't ask any of you to do anything I am not happy to do myself. I ask you to support the mission and ministries of these churches because I value them. I believe so much in the work of these congregations and in their potential to make a difference in Central Alabama that I am happy to give of my own financial resources to support them. Where does stewardship fit in with our mission and our ministry? Well, basically, it's the grease to the wheels. No stewardship means no commitment, no volunteers, no money, no effort, no nothing. No stewardship means no mission, no ministry. No stewardship means no thriving congregation. It's not a dirty word. It's a very important part of what we do here. Effective stewardship is the foundation of a healthy congregation. Stewardship will give us the resources to invite, inspire, and involve members, friends, guests, and visitors to live out the UU values and principles and create the ministries that will transform this corner of the world where we are. And do we ever need transformation in this place and time? Unitarian Universalism is more important than ever before. I understand that Birmingham just had your annual stewardship dinner, and Rev. Julie shared that about a third of the households have made your pledges for the next year. It translates to about a third of your budget goal for the fiscal year that starts in July. So, hooray! And Tuscaloosa folks are also on your way. A third of your pledge units have responded, making 50% of your budget goal. Another hurrah! Both congregations are on your way. Just keep it going. Don't stop now. Let me lend my voice to those of your dedicated and capable leaders. Please, if you can, increase your giving over last year. Nothing is getting cheaper. And in order to do all the powerful, exciting Unitarian Universalist life and world-changing projects we want to accomplish, we need to increase our giving, if at all possible. Remember that stewardship is a vital sign of the health of the membership. Please don't think of pledging as merely a necessary burden to endure or a bill that must be paid, because that does a grave disservice to the covenantal nature of our church communities. When we join a congregation and sign the membership book, we make a promise to one another to support the ministry we do together with every resource at our disposal, our time, our talents, and our treasure. Members of the Birmingham and Tuscaloosa UU congregations, please pay attention to this. We don't pledge to the Board of Trustees or the Finance Committee. We don't pledge to the minister or the Unitarian Universalist Association. We pledge to each other. Certainly, we will not all be able to give the same amount, but we can all give generously from what we have. We each make a membership promise to this family of choice, as Thomas called it, to help support our projects and pastimes, our mission and ministries. And I urge you all not to give so much to other organizations that you don't have much left to give your church. I also support several charities that do good things and deserve support. But these congregations are not charities. They are for each of you, your community, your tribe, your family of choice. Make it your giving priority. Give the lion's share of your financial donations to your congregation. Will the Audubon Society visit you in the hospital? Will Save the Children bring you a casserole when you're sick? Will the Humane Society provide pastoral services when you are in crisis? Marry and bury your loved ones. Only a community of faith does these things. Your community of faith is all these things to you and more. Why wouldn't you want to be generous and give as much support as possible to your congregation? Now, Unitarian Universalists don't do guilt. We've all had way too much therapy to put up with that. We don't twist arms to get money in the plate. I know there are some who live on very modest means, and I know they will make modest pledges. That's fine, really. Just do the best you can. Every member needs to make and pay a pledge every year, but the amount is up to you. No judgment. How we spend our money is deeply personal. And I just want to ask you to consider these questions. For you, is this congregation a luxury or a necessity? Do you count on it being here for you and your family and friends come hell or high water or tornadoes? What steps could you take to increase your commitment of volunteer time, leadership, and financial pledging? Remember that we are counting on each other for generous participation. At some point in the past, we each arrived at the door of our church with curiosity and hope in the idea of a faith community where even we, the spiritual misfits and outcasts, the religiously abused and exploited, the faithful, lonely wanderers, could find a safe haven where we could shelter and grow, recover, and recharge. We caught sight of a not quite impossible dream of the world transformed into a place of justice and true freedom centered on the power of real love. This dream still calls to us, fills our hearts, pushes us beyond the false walls built by hate and fear. This is the not quite impossible dream that we do have the strength and the resources and the will to help repair a hurting and broken world. Amen, and blessed be.
Please rise in body or spirit to join in our closing hymn, number 1017 in your teal hymnal, number 1017. We are building a new way. We are building a new way. We are building a new way, feeling stronger every day. We are building a new way. We are working to be free. We are working to be free. We are working to be free. are working to be free.
Please use your connection card to notify the office of any changes to your address or email. We want to stay connected. The staff reads these each week. We're going to start having a book table, a free book table, the first Sunday of every month. It'll be a half hour before and a half hour after service. If you see a book you want, take it. If you have one that you don't want anymore at home and you think other people will read it, bring it and put it on the table and donate it. Young adult group meets in the picket room after the service. The environmental task force meets today at 11:30 in the library. Speaking of that group, the environmental task force, they're having a forest cleanup day on April 5th at 9 a.m. Bring gloves, garden tools to help clean up the hiking trails, the area around the fire pit. Please, as has been said, use your pledge card. Please complete that for the 2025-26 year. And there's a link and a QR code in your all-church email yesterday, and I think Reverend Ruth said there's pledge cards in the narthex. Today, in the vocal room, join a new group that is meeting called Spiritual Healing Sanctuary. It's about dealing with past religious trauma and share in developing a living UU and living a positive UU faith. Okay, and finally, today I'm taking a group to the Great Wall after the service, and about 10 of you have already told me you want to go. If you haven't told me, please tell me afterwards, and if more than 2 or 3 people say they want to come, I'll call Kevin at the Great Wall to let them know. And last time we did this last month, people came in 2 waves. Many of us went right at noon after coffee, and then there were some people that came 12:30 or 1 after meetings and things that are happening immediately after the service. We have a few special announcements. Kylie Kerr. Yes, you are.
Good morning. I'm Kylie Kerr, and I'm speaking on behalf of the Beacons at this moment, so you can pretend I'm not on the board also. I am here to let you all know that the Beacons especially are looking for people who are interested in maybe helping us write some social justice issue statements. We currently have 4 of these that we have spoken out in the last few years. One is that this church is committed to Medicaid expansion in Alabama. In 2020, or right beforehand maybe, we voted to affirm that Black Lives Matter, and we supported that movement during the pandemic and of course afterwards. And then we have also voted on our Green Sanctuary 2030 to support environmental justice and in making our sanctuary more environmentally friendly. And then the 4th one is reproductive justice and the right to bodily autonomy for all. We have already had somebody interested in writing one, a social justice statement about religious freedoms in schools, really speaking out against pushing Judeo-Christian prayers being said over intercoms in public schools, as well as the posting of the 10 Commandments, which if you were here last week, Reverend Julie spoke about. We are also interested in having people potentially write ones as a group or individuals or committees that are already out there about supporting LGBTQ and especially trans individuals in the state of Alabama, as well as LGBTQ youth and their right to gender-affirming care in the state. We also would love somebody to help write one on supporting immigrant rights, and especially as we see more of ICE coming in around. And as you may have noticed, we actually have signs up now about who can and who cannot enter our building during certain times and the legality of that. So if you are interested in helping write or you have thoughts about a social justice impact statement, that is something that we could sign on to different things about, as well as things that Reverend Ruth and Reverend Julie could speak on from the pulpit representing all of us, please find me. I'm hoping to host a more in-depth information session within the next couple weeks, because you would have to have 2 information sessions regarding your proposed statement, and then we have to vote on it at our congregational meeting. But I am really excited about this, so if you need help or ideas, or you just want to throw your support on it, please find me later. Thank you. June. It's before GA, the General Assembly, and I'll probably pull some of the previous statements from GA to give us something to look at. So thank you. One moment. June 1, so congregational meeting June 1, and General Assembly starts the 22nd. So we would have a few weeks, and then I could talk about that at GA too. Thank you.
2 quick things. One, I recently made a couple of big edits to the website. So one, the link to the pledge form and like the online stewardship campaign is on the homepage of UUCBHAM.org. So some people said, hey, I'm not taking home the order of service. I don't have the QR code. It's on the website, and I apologize for the delay of getting it there. Also, we have a full bio for Ruth, and it's on our Meet Our Staff page, and it's on our homepage rotator, so that visitors and friends of the church will know that Julie's on sabbatical for these next 6 months, and they can learn a little bit more about Ruth. And lastly, I am a member of our Tuscaloosa Partnership Committee, and right now we have 2 members from Birmingham. It's me and Paul Mansell. And Tuscaloosa has so many people on their committee. So it's a group of us who get together on Zoom once a month. It's normally on a Tuesday night, and we just talk about how our churches work in partnership together. So we plan our potlucks, we think about fundraisers. We don't really do a lot of work. We just brainstorm ideas to pass on to other teams. So if you're a creative thinker, it's really fun. It's a short meeting. It's not a big commitment. But the folks from Tuscaloosa are so awesome. They're so creative and passionate, and like they just get stuff done. And I think sometimes in Birmingham we need their energy and can follow their lead. So if you're interested in joining that club, reach out to me or Paul. We can pass on that Zoom link to you. Again, it's a low commitment and it's a lot of fun. So just let me know if you're interested. Thank you.
Hey y'all, I'm Lisa. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Thank you for laughing. Okay, so I wrote this down because I do ramble. Apologies up front. Okay, good morning. I'm Lisa. Last spring, a dear friend, Scarlett Sanders, caught me at the right time, space, and opportunity and asked if I'd do a feast day for cups and the Unitarian Church of Birmingham. You see, Scarlett and Juju have been experiencing monthly meetups and feast days with our social society for years. We had the blessing of watching our children grow and evolve together. Freeman and Fiona have known me even longer. I've known Farah and many old heads in the pagan community before it was cute to be pagan. Almost 30 years. And many have experienced the blessings of the Orisha and the honor of their elikes with no bias or hindrance to themselves. All are welcome. All are family. Last weekend, I was thankfully advised by a new acquaintance that it was thought that African traditional religions are only for Black people, dun, dun, dun. I hope I laughed as loud as the thunder of Shango. Woo. Thank you. That is absolutely not the case. African traditional religions are no different than any other religious paths. We have countless temples, temple-specific rhetoric and denominations, some political, some spiritual, some separatist, and some Unitarianistic, just like any other religious path, just like Christianity, Catholicism, Judaism, Buddhism, and of course, paganism, but we ain't gonna talk about that. To me, the most important role of a religious path is the spiritual growth of its members. To me, religion is simply the school that has been chosen to teach, no different than choosing Auburn University, University of North Alabama, or UAB. The schools teach the same subjects via different professors, via different methods. Now, deep breath. Oh, I mean it. Deep breath. Relax. Release. Okay? Now, all that said, you are invited to the one-year celebration of Oshun's feast day being here at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Birmingham. It's the last Sunday of the month, March 30th at 6 p.m. Oshun, one of Scarlett's favorite Orisha goddesses, along with much of the world, is the representation of self-respect, self-love, self-growth. Oshun sees the good, the bad, and the ugly in us and loves us just the same. I'll be here. It'll be here in this sanctuary. No special attire, no special beliefs. All are welcome. All are family. And if you want to learn more about ATR and the Orisha, the next meetup will be March 27th, 6 p.m. here at the UUCB in the library downstairs. We'll be discussing Oshun, our growth, and creating a homage craft for her. All are welcome. All are family. Okay?
I think we have one other special announcement. Oh, Gil, I thought it was Paul. Okay.
I apologize for the holdup. This is a personal announcement. Many of you know my mother, Maxine de Cumos. Patty does. She's the first one who met my mom. And at our first dinner, it was Patty and Larry Myers, Marianne Plant, Linda Corliss, and many others. Here at Surface, she's also met, she always sat at this section and knows Jean Weaver, and I believe Helen, and used to chat with Margie McDermott, who's actually now in Tennessee. And she also sang with us in Music Share. So she knows all the Music Share people. But this is her 86th birthday. And the next time you see her, when she comes back to visit, I'd like you all to acknowledge that I have announced it for her.
Okay, Paul has, this is the last announcement. And while I have the microphone, does anybody know who the artist is? Because I looked, there's a price list, but the artist, oh, Diane knows, yay. Go ahead, Paul.
In case y'all have forgotten, I have been asked to remind you to fill out your pledge card and keep the coffee flowing.
Yes, the artist is Chris Gould. He's a local artist who's got a bachelor's of fine arts and he has been doing this work now. These paintings represent a look at his career. They're all for sale. They're very reasonable in price, and so you can have one of these at your home. And there will be a reception. The date is not set. But we're very pleased to have Chris Gould's art on display.
Yay, thank you. And now for the extinguishing of the chalice. In the honor of the legacy of our ancestors, let us carry this flame forward as we extinguish the chalice. Hold fast to dreams, for if dreams die, life is a broken winged bird that cannot fly. Hold fast to dreams, for when dreams go, life's a barren field frozen with snow. Let us go in peace. Amen and blessed be.